I mean, the guy is like super legit. I had no idea. I learned a lot in this documentary.
Randall was the king of the geezer teaser. That's what they called it. He would find Bruce Willis and Stevens. He would find the older action heroes that were, I mean, I don't just appear on ABC, a Hulu documentary without coming well prepared, darling. So I know everything about this lovely gentleman, Randall. But no, he would find these, Bruce Willis, say what you want. I mean, he's an icon, but it's the guys that were getting the $20 million deals back in the day and offer them like he would offer Bruce Willis $2 million to work for 3 days. Not a bad gig. And that was his brand. That was his brand. The Irishman was the closest thing to legitimacy that he ever got. But I mean, you saw these.
That's a huge legitimacy though. That's like huge. And by the way, working with Bruce Willis and, all these people on the documentary, yourself and other, reporters and people connected, right? This one woman who worked at Randall's production company, I guess Randall would lose his shit on sweet Bruce Willis. And of course, Bruce Willis has some cognitive, like a basic cognitive deformity.
I think it's called it's like frontal lobe aphasia or something, but don't quote me on that. It's something like that, but it's the real deal, what he's going through.
Well, and what it's revealed in the documentary, right, is Bruce was really going through this years ago because Bruce would wear an earpiece and someone would feed Bruce his lines. He could no longer remember any of the lines, right? And then Randall would get frustrated and yell at sweet Bruce Willis, who was losing his cognitive ability. And Bruce would be like, "What did I do something wrong?" So bad. How could you yell at sweet Bruce Willis? And I thought it was nice to learn that Bruce Willis just sounds like an absolute sweetheart that everyone adores.
Did you get to the part where the production company woman, she became the waitress, filling up his coffee, and Bruce didn't remember where he was? It's really sad.
It's very sad. It's super sad.
Was there one thing you learned about Mr. Emmett thank you for acknowledging my presence in the documentary. Just because, we've been on the BBC and we've been in the Wall Street Journal and now in the, an ABC documentary in the past, 30 days. Sarah, guess what? I ain't leaving you and I ain't leaving behind the velvet rope. I'm keeping the day job. So there you go.
Okay. Well, good. Good, I will.
You learned about Mr. Emmett that shocked you?
Well, you know what I did think was quite interesting is for the first time, and I think this is the assistant, right? The very famous assistant, I don't know if it was the LA Times or the New York Times that broke the article.
LA.
But the LA Times, they do fantastic entertainment journalism.
Fantastic.
They really do. Yeah, I'm really like the Tom Girardi stuff. It's so good. But anyhow, they reveal this assistant for the first time. This guy who had to go and get cocaine and stuff for Randall. I guess the part I'm curious about. So it sounds to me like all this goes awry, right? Because Randall basically has like a spending addiction, drug addiction. I mean, that'll do it, right there. Spending, drug addiction, gambling addiction, women addiction. Like that's how it all went south, right? It doesn't sound so much that it was like shady. I mean, because they really say in the documentary, this is also what I learned, that he did do these legitimate films. He was Mark Wahlberg.
Did you get to the writers part where that deal they were going to do with, either we're going to do a documentary or whatever, a show with Arnold Schwarzenegger about the muscle culture. And then he owed the writers that thing. And no, I mean, there were some shady business deals too. He didn't want to pay people.
But it sounds like that's because he'd run out of, it doesn't sound like there was a shortage of cash. They were making a lot of money. It sounds like Randall just mismanaged everything and then spiraled into an addiction of drugs, right?
And he grew up, about, it's that Hollywood, he wanted to be a baller with Lala and go to Craig's and private planes. And I mean, man, I really enjoyed being a part of this documentary because I love doing an expose, that one line that someone said about this is the underbelly of Hollywood. This is not what you see on the movie posters. Love that. You live in the town now. I mean, people are breaking into your front door, and which we're very sorry to hear about. But this is Hollywood. This is it, guys. This is it. This is what assistants face. This is what women are doing. This is what, young gay men are doing. I mean, it's casting couches, and it's just It's a real, I've said this before, and so have you. I wouldn't be like, it wouldn't have done me well in my 20s if I was starting behind the velvet rope and I was in the business now. I can handle all this now because I don't give a fuck. I don't give one fuck. Go take your red carpet. I'm staying home in my pajamas tonight. Thanks for the invite. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not judging. Like, but this is right. But this is hard. It's hard stuff. So I hope you finish the documentary.
I will. I'm obviously some highlights are you. Lala's mom's in it. I've not gotten to the part where apparently Lala appears. Lala says that, she, I don't know, ignored the red flags. And there's something about like, I thought about this. I thought, well, if I give so much grace to Erika Jayne, because I think Erika Jayne with Tom had a, don't ask, don't tell kind of policy. She just, if the money was coming from Tom, why would she question it? Tom was who Tom was, this very powerful. You've had the fabulous Gloria Allred on your show. As Gloria said, I mean, he was a big swinging dick in Los Angeles. I mean, everybody knew who he was as an attorney. Emmett's sort of the same way. I mean, part of me is like a little bit of like, I don't buy it so much from Lala as I do Erika, but I'm trying to like dig into my bias and
a
say,
lot of
why
people
is that?
Don't like what listen, a lot of people have left comments of like, give me a fucking break, girl. You were with him for the money. When times got tough, you ran out. I mean, I'm not saying that. I love my Lala, but
yes, and you're very complimentary of her in the if I were her, I would consider you a very loyal friend and interviewer. You're very kind to her in the documentary.
I had a great one-on-one twice with her. I thought just like the Ariana, and then we'll move on because you mentioned Erika Jayne. I want to talk about Beverly Hills rapping. What you buy it with Erika more, and you're not sure Lala was there for truly, what's the word?
No,
truly pure motives.
At first glance, I feel like it's less believable about Lala. And I think the reason I think that is because the interviews that Lala has done, she has an interesting strategy where Erika has been like, first of all, Erika's still in love with Tom. I think, in my opinion, 110%. I think Tom will die with Erika by his side. I think she absolutely is 100%. That was the love of her life, right? So and Erika has been so angry, like a woman totally scorned. Whereas Lala has an interesting approach, which is she's gone on these shows and she's like, kind of like, no, I take full responsibility. I should have seen the red flags and I'd be done with him, but I have to fight so hard because we have a child together. And that's true, right? That's a different situation than Tom and Erika, right? Because